Howdy, everybody. Well, today is September the 11th, 2020. Okay, what does that mean? That means that 19 years ago, the World Trade Centers were cut down by crazy terrorists in planes. Okay. So, what does that mean for us today? Outside of remembering those that died and gave their lives to rescue the people from the falling towers. It also jump-started the War on Terror. It jump-started quite a lot of things that we still feel today. It was a big, just senseless tragedy that really, if it wasn't for religion, we wouldn't have had. You know, more wars been fought in the name of religion than anything. You know, look at the Crusades. Duh, religion. You know, things would have been just fine if people hadn't been like, hey, we can get a religious excuse to go and wage all this war. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's people in the Crusades that saw profit from it. Of course they did. But they had to take back the Holy Land, right? They had to, you know. You know, we had to have Christians in the Holy Land, Christian control. We couldn't have them Muslims controlling it, right? Okay, I'm calling bullshit on that one, but that was the view at the time. At least now we don't have the Crusades going on. But, you know, after 9/11, we looked in all the wrong places. I mean, now we're seeing, throughout the years, we've seen the research, well, not really research, just the facts have come out that the hijackers, they didn't come from Iraq and Afghanistan. They came from Saudi Arabia. Our ally. So, I'm kind of seeing maybe there's something there. The ally that we have in the region, Saudi Arabia. Okay. And so, Annie, hush. Sorry, doggy's being loud. So, we had this country supposed to be our ally. We had terrorists that came from that country and hit us. But then it showed that bin Laden accepted responsibility. I mean, who knows, he could have been behind it. Hell, I wasn't there, but kind of makes you think. How much was he just claiming responsibility out of responsibility? Was he claiming responsibility just to draw attention to his cause? Maybe. Maybe so. Or maybe the Taliban did do it, or I don't know, the Taliban was in. Anyway, bin Laden's fighters, they could have done it. They could have arranged through Saudi Arabia and through some international Islamic terror cabal to do it. I mean, it's very possible, but You know, today is in a way a national day of mourning because we remember those who were slaughtered in furtherance of whatever goal the terrorists had. So it spawned the invasion of Iraq in 2003. It spurred on later war in Afghanistan. You know, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq were still there. George W. Bush was like, we're going to declare war on terror. We're going to declare war on terror. Okay. Well, if you're declaring war on radical terrorists, you're never done fighting a war. That's exactly what the military-industrial complex wants, because that's the thing. The military-industrial complex wants us constantly at war. What did Eisenhower warn against? The military-industrial complex. Come on, people, let's put on our American flag-shaped colored tinfoil hats for a minute. Or wait, are there really tinfoil hats with what I'm about to say? Who do you really think assassinated Kennedy? Yeah, sure. Big story is Oswald. Big thing is he wanted to be known for assassinating the president. Who's to say that Oswald wasn't a patsy? You know, I don't want to sound like some tinfoil hat nut job, but it's awful fishy if you think about it. Because after Kennedy died, who was scared that he was going to be next? Lyndon Johnson, who may or may not have received certain phone calls or letters or whatever that the public doesn't know about. Maybe Lyndon Johnson. You know, or the military-industrial complex could just think that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone as a crazy nut job that wanted to be famous for killing the president. Okay, cool, good for him. So, then they could make the threatening phone calls to President Johnson, who thinks he's next. If they weren't behind it, they could surely make themselves seem like they're behind it. And then guess who plays ball? Guess who escalates the war in Vietnam and makes them millions upon millions of dollars? Pain Nixon's ass was the anti-war movement. That's the whole reason behind him pushing Congress for the 1970 Civil Rights Act, which culminated in the Supreme Court decision, which pretty much led to the 26th Amendment, where we had voting rights for people 18, 19, and 20. You know, Nixon wanted to get rid of the young people's opposition to Vietnam because it's like, hey, we can be drafted. We can be sent dying in this little campaign. You know. So, Vietnam was just a quagmire with an excuse of communism. Communism was the boogeyman. You know. So, move it forward. Now we have an enemy. We have all these, if you'll just think about it, all these endless wars. I mean, yeah, we can't just pull all troops from Iraq and Afghanistan and just go back home. No, no, no. There has to be a strategic way to do it. We should end the endless wars, but we should do it strategically. Don't take me for some clueless leftist. I may be a leftist, but I'm not clueless. I understand that you have to do something like pull out from a giant, big thing like the never-ending Middle Eastern wars that we're embroiled in. You know, the military-industrial complex wanted us there. We got the president taking pot shots at generals, saying that, or at least that I've heard. I haven't heard the accounts. I haven't read the news stories. It's just, this is what I've heard about what the president said. So I'll need to do some more research. But say it is true. Say what I've heard is true is that he's blaming the generals. He's, you know, most times the man's a clueless moron who's led around by the nose like a little doggy. That's all he is. Dangle the bone in front of him and lead him around. I've noticed that's what people do with the president. His big thing is doing his rallies and doing all that. So, if that claim is true, we got a lot to think about. If it's bullshit, well, we still got a lot to think about. But the main topic of this video is 9/11 and how it spawned us being in a position where we really need to think of a strategic exit to all the Middle Eastern war bullshit. The generals aren't the military-industrial complex. The military-industrial complex is the people who make the tanks, the bombs, the guns, the jet fighters, the everything that is used by the military. So guess what? It ain't the generals that do that. You know, it's these companies. What do these companies want you to think? They want you to think that they're putting out freedom, that they're exporting freedom to the world. They're doing all this as good patriots. But in reality, who lobbies Congress? You know, Congress alone has the power to declare war. Congress alone has the power to authorize an extended military occupation by the president. Under federal law, anything he throws in has to be approved after so long to be extended either short-term or indefinitely or long-term by Congress. Well, guess who can be bought and paid for by the military-industrial complex that has all this money? All these military contracts that they get without a bid. You guessed it. You know, whether the military-industrial complex had a hand in assassinating Kennedy is beside the point. Because if they didn't, they sure convinced Lyndon Johnson that they did. If they did, then that was the proof that Lyndon Johnson needed to fall in line. Because Eisenhower, he was a general. He was a strong man. He recognized the threat. So yeah, 19 years ago today was a senseless tragedy. But we can't stop but think. Now, I'm not saying the military-industrial complex caused 9/11. Don't let anything I've said today lead you to believe that I believe that. But they saw a crisis, and there's a saying in politics, let no good crisis go to waste. So, radical Islamic terrorists take out North and South World Trade Center towers. President Bush goes to ground zero and rallies the public. Well, guess what? He brings the nation together, and guess what? Then in 2003, and then he finally gets Congress to go along and get the war resolutions going, you know. Well, I wonder who was in their ear the whole time saying we should do this. You know, it wasn't the president. The president was just making his little speeches. President Bush was, but who do you think was in the back room? Who do you think was buying a few people some lunches? You know, sending a few fruit baskets to Congress? It wasn't President Bush. It was all military industrial complex people saying, hey, yeah, you should vote for this. That'd be great, yeah, you know. Yeah, we can do this for your campaign. You know, that'd be in your best interest too, Senator or Congressperson. You know, we are actually based in your state. You know, this might look good. And, you know what? I don't know how much was motivated by patriotism and how much was motivated by le monnaie, le dinero, the cold hard cash of the American dollar. You know. Because from my perspective, from what I've seen, the evidence I've seen is we shouldn't have entered into Iraq. Afghanistan, maybe. But Iraq, I used to say that wasn't a do-over of the fact that Bush Sr. just stopped at defending Kuwait. Thoughts? Comments? Maybe. You know, but, so, now that I've provided a few thoughts, give you something to think about. You know, some people might comment in the comments below that I got the tinfoil hat on. Some people might agree with me. But, you know, I mean, these videos are my opinion. And my opinion is that we need to remember September 11th, 2001. We need to remember the people whose lives were irrevocably destroyed by this act of mass terror. But we need to also ask the tough questions of, after 19 years, and the people just signing up to go fight this war today, that weren't, most of them weren't even alive when this happened. Think about it. You know, you're just turning 18 now. Or even 19. Hell, even 21. Now, if you're 21, you might remember it. But, you know, we're sending people to die over there over something that's been looked at that Iraq didn't have anything to do with. Come on, U.S. government. Be smart. Pull them out in a safe, strategic way. Don't just... Now, we got to pull our trips home. These kids that are just being sent off to war, just barely, 17 or 18, they weren't even alive then. They don't even remember anything. All they remember about 9/11 is what's been taught to them by their parents and in school. I think it's time to let the specter of 9/11 quit holding us somewhere that we should be done with. And we should use a strategic ejection from. Don't just say, hey, we're just going to go pull them back, because I see a lot of mailers and a lot of things where you got congressmen and senators and, presidential candidates might say, well, we need to end the wars. Okay, great. But that's great. We should all be in agreement within the wars. But I want to see from these politicians a civilian-friendly idea for doing it strategically. You don't have to telegraph everything to our adversaries, and, there's certain things that should be national secrets, because they're military things. But when you say end the wars, and you get elected, you better have a goddamn plan to do it strategically. Because end the wars is a very emotional plea. We need to end the endless wars in the Middle East. Then we can focus on things that, actually matter. Like, I don't know, we're in the middle of a deadly pandemic. Oh, it's a health emergency. Maybe we need health care. Oh, wait! People don't get a living wage. Maybe we should peg the minimum wage to inflation. Oh, wait. We don't have a functioning social safety net in this country? Maybe if once we strategically end the never-ending wars to where we're not going to be fucked up the ass with no reach around from ending the wars, and we do end the wars, maybe we can take that money that we're wasting overseas on bullshit wars, and that might be how we pay for it. Thoughts? Maybe. Or maybe we just tax the living fuck out of Wall Street speculation. I think 25 cents on every $100 would be a good idea. But that's a subject for another video. My main thing is, remember 9/11. Remember the rallying cry. But also remember that we need to end the wars that it started. And if we're going to look at anyone, we need to look at maybe Saudi Arabia. Even though they're our ally, maybe we might want to scrutinize them a little bit more. They got a lot of bad shit going on over there. They killed the gays. They just started letting women drive cars. Damn. That's big. They kill gay people. They kill trans people. I won't even touch on, the whole child marriage thing, because there's several states where it's legal. Here in the U.S., that's kind of a thing that we can't really call out, because we still got it. Politicians that do call it out don't know fuck all anything their ass from a hole in the ground whenever it comes to what's going on in the U.S. But, at least we don't kill gay and trans people as a matter of law. So maybe we should reevaluate our situation with Saudi Arabia. Maybe do a little digging. See if the Saudi government didn't pull some tinfoil hat shit on us. You know, one of the little conspiracy things. Maybe, well, if not, it just may have been some Saudi citizens that just decided that they were going to strike at America. I don't know. It's been 19 years. Maybe we can't follow the money. But you know what? Maybe we should look and think into this if we're going to assign blame, because we've done seen that the blame doesn't go on Iraq. Bin Laden's fighters went to Afghanistan. Okay. But him and his groups are dead and gone, and we need to get the fuck out of there. That's my big point. But we don't need to just rush out. It's easy to say, let's get out, but the harder part is, how do we do it strategically without getting fucked in the ass on the way out? You know, so if anyone has any thoughts, leave it in the comments below. If you have any disagreements with what I've said, comments below. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, y'all have a good one.